So here I am starting my reading practice from the book Magic Words by Jonah Berger, and here I am. In addition, the company asked me to perform a similar analysis on customer support articles. Pages on this website about how to set up a new laptop or troubleshoot a device, and whether readers found those support pages helpful or not. Compared to social media posts, though on customer support pages, words like you had the opposite effect. While words like you increased engagement on social media, it led customer support pages to be rated as less helpful, not more. Intrigued, we started to explore the discrepancy. Social media posts differ from support pages in numerous ways. They are shorter, less detailed, and more likely to be visited by non-users. But to really understand why you worked differently, we realized the importance of understanding what you and other second person pronouns are doing in each context. On social media, people's feeds are overflowing with content, and it's hard to get them to give anything a deeper look. Pictures help, but so does using the right words. In situations like these, words like you can act as a stop sign, flagging something as worthy of attention. When someone sees a post titled 5 tips to save money, it's not clear whether it's relevant to them or not. But add the word you, example 5 tips you can use to save money, and suddenly the post seems much more personally relevant. This is not just an information. This is something you are going to find useful even though the information itself has not changed. You draws attention, increased relevance, and makes readers feel like someone is speaking directly to them. On customer support pages, however, drawing attention is not as necessary because people are already there. They went to the support page because they have a question or a problem they are trying to solve. So their attention is already focused on the content. Further, though the use of you can suggest that information is personally relevant to the reader, it can also suggest responsibility or blame compared to saying if the printer is not working. Dash saying if you can't get the printer to work suggests that the printer is not working is somehow the user's fault, that the gap person lies not with the printer but with the user who can't seem to get it to do what it is supposed to do. Similarly, compared to more passive voice, space can be freed up by active voice. You can free up space by suggest that the user needs to do the work, and the more times the word you is used, the more work the user has to do. Not surprisingly, then, while you helps on social media by drawing attention, it hurts on customer support pages where it can suggest the user is at fault or to blame. More generally, as we have discussed throughout the chapter, words on change, who is in control, who is in charge, in the driver's seat or responsible is both good and ways and bad. Questions like did you feel the dog or did you check when the paperwork is due can feel accusatory. The intent may be benign, just a request for information, but they can be interpreted negatively. Who said it was my responsibility or why wouldn't I have taken care of it? A subtle shift in phrasing, has the dog had dinner, is less likely to generate blowback by focusing on the action rather than the actor. It removes any suggestion of reproach. I am not suggesting that it's your job. I just want to find out whether it happened so I can do it if it has not. The same goes for statements like I wanted to talk but you were busy. The statement may be true. We wanted to take and talk and the other person was busy. But phrasing it that way suggests that the other person is to blame. That not only is it bad, They were busy, but it's their fault the conversion didn't occur. Dropping the you and sandwiching to become like I wanted to talk, but now didn't seem like the best time. Avoids any finger pointing. Now it's clear that it's no one's fault, and we seem caring rather than demanding. Avoiding accusatory use helps avoid placing unintended blame. The same holds for I, me, and other first person pronouns. After taking a first bite of food, a friend's 3-year-old complained that dinner isn't yummy. His parents, who had spent hours planning, shopping for, and cooking the meal, were obviously disappointed. They want their son to like the food, but they also took it as a chance to teach him an important lesson. They noted that there was a difference between something not being good and something not liking it. And they said that just because one person doesn't like something doesn't mean it's bad. When first person pronouns are dropped, opinions can seem like they are being started as fact. This isn't right or dinner isn't yummy suggests that something is objectively bad. But adding I clarifies that the comment to is meant man is meant to be stated as an opinion rather than the fact. I don't think this is right. It shows that whether everyone else agrees or not, the statement is a personal opinion. Personal pronouns take ownership, so whether we should use them or not depends on how much responsibility we want for whether we are talking about whatever we are talking about when presenting the result of a project. For example, someone course says either I found X or the results showing X I found makes it clear that who did the work. The person speaking put the effort in and they should get credit. But saying I found also makes the finding seem more subjective. Sure, you find something, but would anyone else have found the same thing? Or you just your are or are your findings based on the choices you make while conducting the project? Consequently, whether to use pronouns or not depends on how we want to assign credit or blame and how subject or objective we want to who is objective we want what is being said to seem. Making magic words do more than just convey information. They signal who is in charge, who is to blame, and my what it means to engage in a particular action. Consequently, by harnessing the language of identity, encourage we can encourage desired actions both in similar in ourselves and others to do that. First is turn actions into identities. Asking for help or trying to persuade someone to do something, turn that verb will you help into a noun instead. Will you be a happy helper? Framing actions as opportunities to confirm desired identities will encourage people to go along. Change can'ts to don'ts. Having trouble seeking to your goals on resisting temptation rather than saying I can't, trying saying I don't instead. Doing this increases our feelings of empowerment and makes us more likely to achieve our goals. Turn shoulds into coulds. Want to be more creative or come up with a creative solution to a tough problem. Rather than asking what we should do, ask what you could do instead. This encourages divergent thinking and helps us get out of that rut. Talk to yourself nervous about a big presentation or trying to pitch psyche yourself up for a big interview. Try talking to yourself in the third person. You can do it. It distances us from tough situation, reducing anxiety and increasing performance. Fifth one and last one is pick your pronouns, and whether trying to get someone's attention or not. Fight with a spouse, think carefully about how to use pronouns like I and you. They can draw attention and take ownership, but they also suggest responsibility and blame. By understanding the language mm, of identity and deploying it at the right time, we can use magic words to our advantage. Beyond identity and agency, though, there's another type of magic word for deserve attention, and that is words that convey confidence. The second one is chapter is convey confidence. When people think of famous orators, Donald Trump isn't usually the first name that comes to mind. The Roman statesman Cicero is often lauded as one of the greatest speakers ever. He continued public speaking, the highest form of intellectual activity, and believed that good parents should speak wisely and eloquently with a restrained, dignified delivery. Similarly, speakers like Abraham Lincoln and Winston Churchill were praised for their clear, logical argumentation, strong thoughts, and well reasoned ideas. Trump doesn't fit that stereotypes. His sentences are usually grammatically awkward, repetitive, and filled with highly simplistic words. Take his remarks when announces his presidential campaign. I would build a great wall, and nobody builds wall better than me. Believe me, and I will build them very inexpensively. He said, our country is serious trouble. He went, we don't have victories anymore. We used to have victories, but we don't have them. When was the last time anybody saw us beating it? Let's say China in a trade deal. I beat China all the time. Not surprising, the speech was met with widespread derision. People planned it for being simplistic. Time magazine called it empty, and others laughed at it it off as pure bluster. Less than a year later, elected president of the United States. Trump's speaking style is a far cry from what people usually think of as eloquent. His rambling, often incoherent manner is filled with disjointed thoughts, starts and stops, and a range of dysfunctionaries. But love them or hate them, Trump is a great business salesman. Its grace starts and stops, and a range employee and a range of disfluencies. By love him or respect him, Trump is a great salesman. He is convincing, persuasive, amazingly impactful at motivating his audience to action. So how is the he do it? To understand what makes Trump's speaking style so effective, it would help to start in a very different place, and that is in a small courtroom in Durham Colony, North Carolina. Speaking with power, even if you have never sat in a class courtroom, you have probably seen one of the television layers from each side congregating around large wooden desks. Thank you. That's it for the day.